it's Adea. Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we are going to be going through my flawless base makeup routine. So let's get right into today's video, and I hope you guys are loving it because guess what? I do not have on setting spray. Do I need it? I don't think I need it, but let's get into the tutorial. As you can see, my skin has hyperpigmentation, and one of the things that I hate seeing when I do my makeup is the hyperpigmentation coming through. While it's not something I'm uncomfortable with when I'm not wearing makeup, when I wear makeup, I want to be super intentional. So let's go ahead and get the base together. The only thing that I'm adding to my routine that I have never tried before is the face glue by NYX. So I'm going to go ahead and apply that to the majority of my face. I love trying new makeup, so if you guys ever want to see some of the things that I got, just let me know and I'll be sure to do that. So a bit of a user error on my part. I did not realize that it twists from the top, so I just took the whole thing off like it was Elmer's. But yes, this is how it comes off, just in case you're like me and you had no idea that this is how it worked. And now I'm just going to go ahead and just deposit the glue onto my face. So off of first impression, this really feels kind of moisturizing in a way, but also I can kind of feel the tackiness as I work it into my skin. For the rest of my face where I don't have this primer, I'm going to apply the Clinique face primer, and this is the Even Better Pore Defying Primer. So with the primer, I found that it doesn't really stick. You have to like work it in. So that's exactly what I'm going to do as I apply this, because I really love how the T-zone area looks once I do this. I really love putting a little extra effort into it in terms of applying it to these areas of the face. And then whatever's left on my hand, I just completely work it in and put it in this area right under my eye, but slightly above my cheek area. We went for something beautiful and bronzy on the eyes, so I used the Huda Nude Medium palette. I had never tried those palettes before recently, so yeah, I'm kind of late to the party. But anyway, let's go ahead and do the base. So as somebody who, as I mentioned in my intro, has hyperpigmentation, I love using a good skin tone, maybe even a slightly brighter concealer, just to target all the areas where I have hyperpigmentation, sun damage, and the works. I don't typically allow the product to sit for too long, even though I know that that's pretty much how concealers are marketed. And I'm just gonna go ahead and use my foundation brush and just stipple over those areas. Of course, using a skin tone product makes it stand out a little less than what I have going on here, but I'm just using the Turn Up the Base concealer in the shade Dark 3G, which is more of a golden undertone, just to kind of cancel out the majority of what I am working with. So now that I've worked it in, I'm not trying to blend it into where it looks exactly like my skin. I'm basically trying to build up a second layer, but nothing too crazy to where it kind of gets lost in the sauce. And I forgot to mention what brush this is. This is the older Morphe brush from the previous collections that they had. And this is the M6 brush. So I want to say prior to 2018, this brush would have existed. But of course, with Morphe's recent rebrand, they do not have all of the brushes that were part of their collection before. So now we are done with the color correcting aspect. Of course, if there's more prominent features you're trying to conceal, go ahead and add an additional layer. But in my opinion, it pretty much changes day to day depending on what you're looking to conceal. I know for the most part, any other imperfections will be concealed by using my foundation. So I'm not even gonna go too hard for real. So the foundation of the summer for me has been this foundation here from the Too Faced brand. This is the Born This Way Soft Matte Oil Control Foundation in the shade Chai. While I do not feel like it's completely like Oil controlling. I really just love how much of a second skin foundation this has been for me. I recently have been playing around with some other Too Faced concealers because before I was using the shade Mocha, and I found that Mocha was a little bit red for me. I do know how to make it work, but I feel like for the sake of argument, let's just say chai is really my color and I've been living a double life because I can't see a time in my life where I would have been that tan. But hey, chai is that girl for me. She's not too warm, she's not too cool, and she's not too neutral. She is just perfect for me, and literally I feel like it gives second skin. So upon initial application, I do see where it does help with oil controlling properties, but I will say just based on how it wears throughout the day, that's not my personal experience with my makeup lasting in a matte way. But most importantly for me, it doesn't make my skin feel dehydrated. So honestly, that's just what's most important to me when it comes to foundation, just making sure that the tone is correct, because I feel like we touch up our makeup throughout the day anyway, so why stress? Next, I'm going to go ahead and sculpt the face using my cream products. So to start the sculpting process, I'm going to use my Patrick Ta She's Chiseled bronzer duo, or is this a contour duo? It says cream contour and powder bronzer, but I feel like for how the shade comes off on my complexion, it's not really giving contour. It kind of gives bronzer. I mean, it kind of gives a bit of both. What do you think? And I just kind of use this bigger brush to stipple it over my cheeks because I don't want my cheekbones to be super defined. I kind of just want to add a bit of dimension to the face, and so that's why I'm using this brush. And this brush is by Live Glam. I ended up getting it as a part of one of the subscriptions I had with them. For blush, I decided to pick back up one of my favorite cream blushes, and this one is from the KVD brand. It's the Good Apple Blush Balm Duo, and last year during the Ulta sale, that's when I really got to get into these. I was able to get all 4 shades. This is in Red Meadow, and I'm just using the peachy side to just, you know, do a little bit of a blush moment on the cheek area. You'll realize from my makeup style, I don't ever go too hard with any of the products, because my overall goal is truly just to make sure that everything looks as skin-like as possible. Like, I'm not saying makeup doesn't deserve to be transformative, but it could be as minimal or as intense as you personally want it to be. And don't let anyone pressure you into believing otherwise. You don't have to have a cake face, even though I really hate that term, but you truly do not have to have a cake face in order to achieve the look that you want. Now for concealer, I'm going to go ahead into the Clinique concealer, and I believe that this is the shade 115.5 Mocha, but I think I won't know until I put it on my face what it's actually giving. So yes, I believe this is a shade Mocha because my sticker got removed accidentally, but based on how bright it is, I believe that that's actually what this color is. And I'm just applying this in such a maximal but thin way in order to accentuate my highlight areas. I also like to put this around my mouth area. Watching a tutorial the other day, and someone was like, you think your under eyes are creasy, but are you looking up into a mirror to ensure that the concealer doesn't settle into your lines? Are you immediately remembering to set the concealer? And as someone who is in beauty retail, I need you to know that there are a lot of people who forget that step. Like, you have to set your makeup. And I love giving one-on-ones because then it really helps me break down why certain things happen in the face. So, I mean, this fall, just know there are going to be more tutorials because I really love sharing the things that I know with you guys. I'm working on my consistency, but, you know, give me some grace. This is from my local deli, and when I tell you it's so good, It is so good. And now is pretty much the time where we set everything. So I don't do it in the same order that I applied it. I do it based on what is more likely to crease first. So as you can see, the last thing I did, I guess I pretty much reversed the steps through which I put it on. So I apply my concealer first to color correct all over my face. And then I apply my foundation. After that, I apply my bronzer, I apply my blush, and then I finish by doing my under eye. So I'm going to pretty much do the reverse of all of those steps that I just said. So let's go ahead and get into that. Go ahead and blend my under eye one more time, because again, we don't want it to crease. And I'm going to use a mixture of powders today. I'm going to use the chalk dust powder from the crayon case in the shade O, because it's a beautiful banana-y kind of shade, as you can see right here. And I'm going to go ahead from under my nose area and just apply to the upper part of my cheek. I like putting that along the side of my nose as well, and then roughly looking up and just kind of pressing it over my skin in that way. This is like my base layer of powder, and honestly, I really, really, really love this. Then I'm going to go ahead and set my nose area. I don't go perfectly down the center. I like to just put it everywhere, because I like to go in some days and press over my bronzer, like my powder bronzer in that area. I'm not really big on nose contour. It's something that I want to try to get back into, but apart from using it for definition, I don't really feel like it's a necessary step in my day-to-day routine. So now that I'm done, the last place that I'm going to apply it is around my mouth area, where I previously kind of highlighted. Next, I'm going to use the ABH powder, and this is in the shade Banana. And I'm using Banana, and I'm kind of pressing it over where the sifter is, just to reduce the amount of product that is currently on the sponge. And ever so lightly, I'm going to go from the side of my eye down my nose and just kind of keep it in that inner area of the under eye. And it's like, you know, you're brightening for free, if that makes sense. So of course, it's bright. It's meant to look bright. Like, that's literally what the color is giving. So that's where we're gonna stay. Now for blush, this is the Signature Ombre Blusher in the shade Orange Blossom. And since I put more of a deeper shade for my blush, I'm going to use the bottom, which is almost like a pinkish orange shade. And I'm going to go ahead and just stipple over my cheek in a pressing motion as opposed to going in circular motions. Then I just like dusting whatever's left over the tip of my nose. And let's take it a step further. I love doing this as like a finishing touch, but because I'm going to put it into the bronzer, I'm just going to use the Fenty Hot Cheeks. This was like a summer release last year, and this is in the shade Baked Peach. I kind of love when Fenty does like these limited edition drops, because one, it kind of prompts me into actually getting it, but most importantly, I love that it's usually a soft launch to see how much people actually love the products. And when I tell you, this was my blush of summer 2024. I'm only now getting back into it now that we're transitioning into fall, but I love a good shimmery blush moment for the cheeks. So I'm gonna go ahead and leave that as is, and then I'm going to go back in to the Patrick Ta bronzer contour palette situation, and I'm going to go into the second shade that's available. And on the other side of my brush that I wasn't using, I'm just gonna go ahead and define my bronzer contour situation from earlier. Not forgetting the forehead, not forgetting the jawline. right? We're keeping things really cute. I just really love this blush moment because I think it's just so pretty. Honestly, before I knew what blush blindness was, I was definitely on that bandwagon. Like, to this day, I still feel like I have it mildly, but it's like my favorite thing to do to my face. Anyways, so now that those areas have been set, for the most part, I'm gonna go ahead and go in and do my nose. So because I didn't use anything for cream, I'm using more of a stiff brush. This is just the other end of the Live Glam brush. And I'm going to go in using the mirror, and I'm gonna define from the end of my eyebrow all the way down to where I placed that blush. And like I said, I don't really use it as a way to like truly define my face, so I hope you didn't expect anything transformational from that. But yeah, that's where we are. To finish up my base, I'm going to use the shade NW45. This is the new MAC formula for the Studio Fix Powder Plus Foundation. And the shade that I love for me is NW45. I think in the winter time, I'm going to transition to the NW44 or the NC50. But for now, I'm really loving how this color looks on my skin. And I'm pretty much just using it as well to kind of dust away the excess powder that I have on my face. And I know that this is probably gonna sound really crazy, but I don't instantly set my face with setting spray anymore. I just kind of let the powder do what it does. And then if I feel the need to refresh a little later, I will do exactly that. So now I'm just going to go ahead and finish off the rest of my makeup, and then I'll be back to give you guys the quickest recap of this face. So this is my completed makeup look. I just want to say thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed seeing what my base routine looks like. And just know, even if you don't have all of these products, you can definitely take some of the tips that I shared with you in order to create your own type of routine. So with that said, I just want to say again, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.